Hi there, in 2012 I discovered blogging, and I also discovered Tim Holtz was running a tag challenge in which he makes a tag every month and inspires us to create tags of our own. I've had a lovely time doing it, and I thought I would just show you my tags to review the year. This was the February tag, and although I didn't actually do this as my first tag, I actually joined in March. I am going to show them in order. Each month Tim bought us a lovely tag and inspired us with all sorts of techniques to try. Some we might have done before and some might be completely new. This was a kind of embossed technique using acrylic paint as a resist, and I also used acrylic paint to create this lovely little cherub transfer on the side of my tag, which obviously has a Valentine's flavour appropriate for February. March, this was the tag that I actually did first. And I went back and did the February one, and on this one Tim inspired us to try a little paper piecing technique to make a faux tiled effect, and although I didn't have the grey embossing powder that Tim used that gave a more cement finish in between your little tile pieces, I think this worked quite well, and I quite liked the drama that the black brought in between the pretty pattern papers that were used to do the tile effect. I think you'll agree I've got a little bit of a Gaudi thing going on here, and I quite like that look. Reminded me of holidays in the sun. April's tag brought a spring look to our tags appropriate for the year, and each month that we did these little tag works of art, it was great to explore all the different techniques. This one used an embossing folder to create a frame around the die cut birds. Mine weren't quite the same as Tim used. I used a different die, but it was always great either to improvise with what we had or to go out and have a little sneaky shop. I quite often succumb to the sneaky shop, if I'm honest, but here's my May tag, and Tim showed us how to use tissue to create a nice background on which to either stamp or ink for our tag, and I printed a lovely old design from an old pattern that I found on the internet onto my tag. And the other technique was how to make these lovely porcelain looking flowers by dipping paper roses into thick, ultra thick embossing powders to create that lovely glossy look. And I've used some other sewing elements that I found in my sewing box to add to the May tag. June, Tim showed us how to colour old sepia photographs. This wasn't strictly speaking a sepia photograph, but I did use my inks to make it look like that. This is a photograph of my dad, and I found that a lot of the tags that the girls and boys made were very personal in this month, and it's quite nice to use this technique for that reason. This is my dad and me and my brother, so it brought back some nice memories. Look at those lovely hand knitted cardigans. And in July we did some alcohol ink splattering, so on a shiny card, and if you were lucky enough to have a tin of air, you probably didn't get the hyperventilating effect that I had to eventually get the kind of splash of ink that I wanted, because I had this fairy very much in mind once I'd seen the lovely technique that Tim was using with his alcohol inks. And I used this gorgeous stamp from Lavinia Stamps. In August, Tim inspired us with all things Disney. I didn't have the princess silhouette stamp that he used, but I improvised by printing out a silhouette of Minnie Mouse from the internet, and then I embossed it using the Ranger's Distress embossing powders, which gave my swirls and frame and silhouette a lovely velvety look. And then I had great fun adding all the little red and white spots and dots everywhere, which was great fun. And I loved the look of this tag when I'd finished it. In September, Tim used the gorgeous metal foil that Ranger sells. I'd had it for a little while, but I'd not actually used it, and I love this technique where he used lots of little bits of tape and then used embossing to make it look very, very industrial, and then rubbed over with, I think he used black acrylic paint, but I couldn't get mine to work, and I've used an ink on top of my embossed foil, and I love the look of it, but I am a bit of a girly girl, and I had some metal flowers, and that kind of led my tag down a more feminine route than Tim took, and gave me a chance to use a little bit of the black bling that I'd been saving as well. in October it just had to be Halloween, and although I didn't have an awful lot of the things that Tim was using, I might have to go on a shopping spree later because he was using some gorgeous stamps, but the technique that he used inspired me to make this gravestone because it was very textured and I thought it would look very good to be the background for this tag. Proper 3D gravestone. I had great fun with my glue gun making all these spidery cobwebs, which normally you try to avoid on any of your projects, and I even used white glue on my candle, which gave a lovely waxy finish. Autumn bought a resist technique. Again, I didn't have the stamps, but I've used it for the word autumn, as this is my November tag, and I realised when I put these on my wall it's the only tag that I've done in this landscape position. Everything else has been portrait, but it still looks nice in amongst the collection. First time I'd ever used the strip die that I bought, Autumn Gatherings. They were great fun to use. I can see I'm going to use those a lot more. A few gorgeous autumn colours in this tag. I had fun with this and I enjoyed making the inky paper to punch the leaves out of. And December bought us an extra Christmas present from Tim, and he did 2 tags in 1 month. I decided to make a December and a January tag so that I ended up with 1 tag for each month, even though I made the January tag in December. I decided to do a shaker tag because I'd already made one earlier for another challenge that I was taking part in and I enjoyed it. I didn't have all the things that Tim had, but I think you can definitely see his inspiration in his snowman tag. And I loved using, for the first time, the new set of border stamps that I'd bought. And so for the final tag, and on a sad note, Tim used the gorgeous poinsettia die, which I didn't have, but I managed to still use poinsettias as my starting point for my tag, which I wanted to be for January and Happy New Year. I made another shaker tag and I used the little leaves from the strip Autumn Gathering die, and they worked quite well, putting them together to make poinsettias for my tag. And I hope you think that the shaker effect reminds you of the fireworks that we see at New Year. I've had a really great time doing this and I'm so glad that Tim brought it to us. It was definitely inspiring every month, and to visit other people's blogs to see how they'd put their unique stamp to Tim's inspiration. It really was a great thing to do, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you've enjoyed this review of the tags that I made this year. And I'm really looking forward and happy to see that Tim's bringing it back again for 2013. And what to do with all these mini works of art that I've created throughout the year? I decided to put them on the wall where I work so I can look at them each time I sit down at my desk, and hopefully they'll inspire me to create new works of art in the year 2013. Happy New Year everyone, and thank you for watching.